Hello and welcome to AutoCharge. I'm Andrew, this is my co-host Brenndan, where we're going to be debating two generations, two philosophies, the 10th generation Honda Civic and the 11th generation.
And I'm so glad we can both agree that the 10th generation is clearly the better option.
That's where I disagree. It's too angular, it's too strange. They forgot to stop designing.
See, this is where we can agree that you and the 11th gen are dumb as rocks. Like, the only people that actually drive it are the ones that want to blend in at the retirement home.
See, this is where we agree that this guy huffed paint. When have Civics stopped doing that? Bums have always bought the Civic, but more bums buy that 10th generation.
Dude, you're an actual dumbass. Guzman, play me that 10th gen Civic video. Art reflects life, but it also reflects changes in society, from sharp and aggressive to sleek and subtle. I have a car here that in its current design really shows the direction of where the automotive industry is headed. Contemporary. This here is the 2024 11th iteration of the Honda Civic. Honda had introduced a new era of design to its cars quite a few years ago. The previous generation is what I would call the angular era, with its sleek, sharp, and aggressive angles and aggressive styling. This was to help appeal to the younger generations by having a more sleek and sporty look. You know, it's really a step up from that 8th generation Civic. Except for the Civic Si, that one was actually peak. This is what I like to call Honda's minimalist era. Or as Andrew likes to call it, their boy meets world era. All the coolness and charm from the 10th generation was stripped away for this less aggressive, more premium aesthetic. And I know I'm not tripping when I tell you this car looks like an Audi from a distance. One thing I absolutely hate about all these new cars is the little dimp that they have here between the bumper and the hood. Besides all that chicanery and nonsense, as Andrew would say, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of this car. This Honda here comes with a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder 158 horsepower engine. This engine is more or less unchanged from the 10th generation, but you can get a higher trim with a 1.5 liter hybrid engine as well. You know, the trunk here is relatively spacious, enough to fit all your family needs like your picnic, your stroller, and if your kids are being naughty, you can toss them in the back too. There's plenty of room back here in the back seats, and plenty of space up front if you're 5'6". But considering this is a working class Honda, let's take it for a spin around downtown and see how it drives. You know, the best way to describe this car is surprisingly refined. You know, it's surprisingly quiet here inside the cabin. You can't hear any wind noise, road noise, crackhead noise outside. But even a crackhead would be shocked at the state of these shock absorbers. Like, oh my God, you're gonna feel every goddamn bump in the road. It's ridiculous. This car here has a continuously variable transmission, which Honda's been putting in their cars for years. This CVT is definitely an upgrade from the previous generation. When you're accelerating, you can't really feel the gear ratios changing, and it feels just a lot more natural. Even while driving at lower speeds during stop-and-go traffic, Honda's really gotten better at reducing the jerkiness of their cars. That won't stop someone like me though. Speaking of which, the SI is actually the only trim you can get of the Civic with the manual transmission, but that'll run you about $40,000. I feel like recently Honda's been trying to be something that it's not. Fancy. If you take a look at this honeycomb interior that spans across the entire dash, I personally think it looks really ugly. This gauge cluster is absolutely disgusting to look at. It doesn't know what it wants to be. On my right, I have a physical speedometer. I have a digital speedometer in the middle showing me the maximum speed of the road. And on my left, I have a digital RPM gauge, which tells me to drive safely. Do they know who I am? Like, come on, Honda. Can we keep some consistency? You know, Honda has actually introduced these brand new luxury door handles, just like BMW. Unfortunately, they're just cheaply plastic. When it comes to features, or lack thereof, I guess, this car does not come with a 9-inch screen, but instead, a nice 7-inch screen up top, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Let's get that out of the way. As you can see, this car does not have a built-in navigation system, and it also does not have wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It has to be wired up yourself. One of the things that was so peak on the previous Civic was you could actually change the background on the infotainment system. Now, unfortunately, you're stuck with this boring gray and black screen. This car does not have a wireless charger for your phone. It does not have a side view camera. It does not have a sunroof. It does not have heated seats in the back. It does not have a front or back sensor. And it also doesn't have automatic seats. Does this car have anything? I did not mean to swear. If you look around me, we are in downtown Oshawa right now. And I'm not sure if you know this, but crackheads are actually prone to jumping in front of your cars down here for insurance purposes. Luckily, Honda predicted this with their emergency mitigation braking system. Essentially, the car will brake on its own when it senses danger. Sorry, crackheads, you will not be getting my insurance that I don't pay for. If you ask me, $20,000 is way too much for a car like this, just for the base model. I would say to put in a couple extra hours at work so you can save up for that touring edition with a hybrid engine to save on gas. You know, I don't really care much for hybrid engines. Personally, I love supporting my local gas stations, which subsequently supports all those oil millionaires in Dubai. Honestly, this car is pretty boring for someone like me. I wouldn't really consider it, or most of its competition for that matter. This car has pretty limited options for tuning. And honestly, if you're gonna tune this car, please get an SI without a CVT, I beg of you. However, if you're just a guy who's looking for a commuter car that drives and has working AC, personally, I think that a Corolla is just the better option. That's about it. Drive safe. What is the agenda you're trying to push with this Boy Meets World era? Like what?
Because it feels more balanced. It feels like it's now in a man's world.
So, you do agree that it's less fun nowadays?
No, you're putting words in my mouth. And also, you're giving me a bad rap when you're reviewing the base model. Like, what the hell is that? The SI and touring trims fix all those problems with the ride and the handling and the interior. It has a stiffer chassis and it feels more balanced.
Okay, first off, that's all we could afford. Secondly, the average Joe Schmo is not gonna buy one of these higher trims, okay?
Yeah, I don't know who chose you to be a car reviewer because... You chose me to be a car reviewer. And I'm absolutely regretting it right now because you do not know your ass from your head. The 10th generation lowest trim is still gonna feel like shit.
Okay, well, first off, that's all speculation. You've never actually driven the base model 10th gen.
Maybe.
Just because it has a new and improved chassis and suspension, you would think it would be better. But no, it's somehow still worse.
Yeah,
how is that even possible, Andrew?
You're just wrong.
Well, I'm not. Okay, Guzman, next video. You know, I've described this as Honda's angular era. I wanted to stray away from a more contemporary car design and go with something a little bit more stylish. It's unique, but in a good way. You can see all of its seriousness with all of these angles and sharp edges. You know, Andrew would say, it's over-designed. They forgot to stop. But at least they didn't forget. The newest one took minimalization to the extreme, and now it just lost its identity. These headlights here are LEDs, and they're super friggin' bright at nighttime, so you gotta be careful who you're pointing them at, because they might pull out a gun and point it at you. The taillights are sharp and angular, almost like they're otherworldly, like they came right out of a spaceship. Furthermore, the interior is actually really similar to the previous iterations. It comes here with this built-in 7-inch display, which has both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You know, Android Auto is pretty cool. You can even play games built into the car. Take a look. A retro drift. How the f do I play this game? What's the drift button? Oh, there's no way you have to use the steering wheel. Oh, I can also appreciate these gorgeous leather seats. One of my other favorite features about this generation is that you can actually customize the background of your infotainment system. Furthermore, there's plenty of space in this car, both in the back seats and the front seats. Things I would list about this car, which is better than the newest generation, is the interior, like the dashboard, the exterior, like everything, basically everything, because the other sucks in comparison to this, and it's a huge, massive step down. This generation of Civic comes with 4 different trim levels, with the highest one being the Sport Touring, coming with the 174 horsepower, 4-cylinder, 1.5-liter supercharged engine. But why don't we go hit the road? You know, this car actually comes with a ton of different features. It comes with cruise control, lane keep assist, and even a side view camera. But the side view camera is only for the right side because they don't want it as an excuse to not check your blind spots. So this here Touring Edition only comes with the CVT transmission, unfortunately. You guys already know the auto charge opinions on CVTs. but Honda seems really insistent that CVTs are the future of automobiles. If you're looking to get a Civic with a manual transmission, it all depends on your credit score. If it's high, go for the Type R. If it's low, you might be stuck getting an LX. You know, the speaker system is nothing to lollygag about. Honestly, it's kind of just all right. You can adjust the bass, treble, and midtones, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Overall, this is a pretty banging sedan. The 10th generation, as I'm sure you know, is not being made as it's been replaced by the 11th gen, unfortunately. But it is pretty cool to see what Honda tried to do by reinventing the normal sedan. No, it's funky and it shows confidence. If you want something just as reliable as a Corolla, but a little bit more aesthetically appealing, this is definitely your go-to. Reliable and easy to work on. I just don't get how some people can hate on this thing. I'm looking at you, Andrew, from back at the garage. You know who you are.
What the hell is this? You review a base 11th but a touring 10th? Get the out of here. You're actively sabotaging this debate.
Bro, you have no debate. Like, your only argument is that the 11th gen looks better than the 10th gen. And even then, you're still wrong about that.
Engine, ride quality, exterior.
You're not gonna mention the interior?
You know what? I'll concede on that point. The 10th generation definitely has a better interior than the 11th. I don't know what they were smoking when they're making that honeycomb interior because it looks disgusting. So I'll concede on you with that point. Okay, let's quickly compare the different stylings of the Civic, the Type R and the hatchback. We can't compare the coupe because they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, I don't really know why you would bring this up. That's where the 10th is better in this aspect too.
Well, you're not gonna start saying that because when we take a look at the 10th gen coupe, yeah, this is disgusting.
That's pretty gross looking, I'm not gonna lie.
What argument do you have in favor of this?
If I'm being honest, this is probably genuinely my least favorite Civic coupe. I think it just looks very strange, and I think a lot of that is the back half of the car, because the car starts off very wide. The moment you hit the top frame of the door, it just starts going smaller and smaller and smaller till it gets to a weird point at the back. Yeah, I can't defend myself here. I'm not gonna lie.
What even is that?
Well,
why do they have this? Why do they have this unibrow tail light here? You know, a lot of new cars have this. I've seen some trucks. I've seen some new Kias with this unibrow tail light, and I still don't know why it exists.
I think you're just stuck in the past. It's just a step towards the future. A lot of Hyundais I see have this as well. Just a lot of new cars in general have this just elongated light at the back of the car. I don't know. I feel like it's just something that a lot of new car brands.
You like this?
On this vehicle? No. I think it can work on some vehicles for sure. This is definitely not one of them.
When this breaks, it's just gonna cost more money to fix.
Well, good thing that they don't make them anymore. That's probably why.
You know what? They should have made a new one because you can only go up from here. Now, you might be thinking this is just the regular sedan. However, when we show the picture of the rear of the car,
if I'm being honest,
this doesn't even look like a hatchback.
No, it does not look like a hatchback. It kind of looks like a Honda Cross Tour. Have you seen those ones before?
I have seen that.
Where it's like, it has the build of a Civic, but once you get to the back, it's just super wide and just so much bigger.
And also, it just feels like they're just being very lazy because they just took the front half from the regular car. Okay, fair enough, but isn't hatchback supposed to be more
hatchy?
Low? Yeah, more hatchback-like. I feel like if you look at like the Golf or any like the Toyota Corolla hatchback, that one looks like a proper hatchback. However, this
it still has the back of a sedan. It's just bigger.
I'm surprised this even is classified as a hatchback.
I don't know. Even with like the Mazda 3 versus like the hatchback version, like I love how the hatchbacks should
it's supposed to have a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, it should have like the trunk of like a station wagon or like an SUV or something. Not this.
Genuinely, it would look 10 times better if it had that station wagon look. You know what I also don't like about these Honda Civics? I think the hood is too long. I think it's protruding a little too much out of the car itself. If you look at those like 8th or 7th generation Civics, it's very small. Like the engine is literally going in right under the windshield here. This one is too long out front. They're probably doing it because of safety, you know, all that stuff. However, it's protruding too far out in front of the car. Anyway, let's talk about the Type R. This is the 10th generation version of the Type R, and I'm sorry, but this looks very good. I love
this one's beautiful.
I love this design. Some people don't like it. I love it. Apart from like that original one from like the 90s and like the early 2000s.
Okay, well, like you can never really compare, right?
No.
Like, let's be for real. So
I mean, honestly, compared to that one, this looks like shit. Like if you compare that old 2000s Type R to this, yeah, this is a little bit much. Yeah, it doesn't really, it's not the same to its roots back then. However, as a standalone car, I think it looks pretty good.
You know what I don't think looks good though? The $70,000 price point.
Yeah, this is
absurd.
Preposterous. This was more prominent. This is more prominent as a real problem with the newer one. This is the new 11th generation one, and I'm sorry, but this looks like poo. It doesn't look like anything like a Type R. I don't know what you would really classify as a Type R look, but this is not it. I don't know, just something about it.
It looks just like, it literally looks like just a basic, it looks riced. They just slapped on a badge, slapped on the red emblem, and they just put a spoiler on.
Yeah.
Like, that's genuinely all they did. Like, you're telling me you look at that, and then you look at this. Like, look at that built-in spoiler at the back.
At least it looks like more natural.
This
you know
is
what?
atrocious.
I will admit that the 3 exhaust points on this is pretty cool. I like this. With yours is just with the 10th generation, just one single thing. I don't know. It just doesn't look good.
It looks lazy.
It looks very lazy.
It looks cheap.
Oh, let's add a spoiler and then
spoiler, badge,
new
sport,
new diffuser, some new Brembo makes, one little side skirt here, and that's it. This needs to be released by tomorrow. Okay.
Like, there's just no care put into it. Like, genuinely, it looks cheap and it looks homemade. I feel like if I was to just buy a regular Civic hatchback, I could do this myself. I could go to Amazon and buy my own wing.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to pay the $70,000 price tag for this car, which is absolutely ridiculous. This car is not worth 70,000, well, Canadian dollars.
This is the generation you're defending, by the way.
I'm defending the sedan. You know what? Telling people not to buy that 11th generation is like telling people not to wear a seatbelt.
Bro, you might actually be the dumbest, most pea-brain, idiot, moron car reviewer I've ever laid my eyes on. Like, you need to get a smaller hat because there's no way your head fits into that thing.
If you're trying to explain to me that the new generation is a bad way to evolve, then you're a joke. This Civic looked more like a Civic than the Civics looked in the past 16 years since the early 2000s.
Well, looks better, dude. Look how minimalistic it is. It looks like an unrendered like PNG. Like what?
I keep bringing that up like it's a valid point, but it didn't make any sense. That 10th generation is over-designed to a goddamn T, and what doesn't continue that with the next generation? You get all pissed. That 11th generation is the perfect way to redesign that car, and it just looks good. I could not imagine how they could have possibly reinvented that car to your liking.
Bro, you don't know a damn thing about reinvented because all of your favorite cars and car brands have shut down over the last 20 years.
What are you talking about?
Saab, Suzuki, like the RX-8, like they're not coming back, bro. Like, and before you can retort, I'm gonna have to end this episode off here. So I apologize to anybody at home that was enjoying this, but it looks like we're gonna cut it today. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Drive safe.
Good night.
Let us know in the comment section below, do you prefer the 10th or 11th gen? If you prefer the 11th gen, just know you are getting blocked. And if you do like the 10th gen, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, apparently we live in a communist society here with cars. You can't have different opinions. Look at this guy. The most common 10th generation owner.
Last time someone had a differing opinion, he got shot.